And we are back. Here we go once again, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the Europa League and Europa Conference League predictions video. 32 fixtures for you today after a night which, to be honest, I still haven't quite got over. And if you missed my reaction to the Manchester United game, feel free to check that video out right now at the top of your screen. But we're not here to talk about the Champions League. Who cares about the Champions League? We're here to talk about the Europa League and the Europa Conference League. And like I say, we've got 32 predictions to get through for you today. Before we get into it, if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video and subscribing to the channel if you are new around here. We will, of course, have our Premier League predictions at this time tomorrow morning. Let's get in to the Europa League. And we start off at no better place than in Group A, and we start off with the game between Freiburg and Baka Topola. Now, it was a comfortable win for Freiburg a couple of weeks ago, so it only seems right that we go for another Freiburg win. This time, I'm going to go for 3-0. The other game in this group is a little bit more interesting. A 2-1 win to Olympiacos over West Ham last time out. And I think back in London, even though West Ham haven't played at their utmost best recently, they were able to get a win in a cup game last week against Arsenal, and I'm backing them to do so again tonight. I'm going to go for the exact same scoreline it was in Greece, but this time the other way around, and I'm going for 2-1 to West Ham. On to Group B, and straight in with another English club. It is Brighton and Hove Albion away to Ajax in a game that he's played earlier than the other game in this group, which is a bit odd. They don't tend to do that in the Europa League, but it is what it is. It was, of course, a 2-0 win to Brighton last time out after the sacking of Ajax's manager. Since then, it has been 2 wins from Ajax. They finally decided to get themselves back in action and are starting to pick up wins. In the meantime, Brighton have slumped to 2 draws in the Premier League against Fulham and Everton. So, with that said, I'm going to go 3-2 to Ajax. I think Ajax are going to take it. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but we shall see. The other game in the group sees AEK Athens taking on Marseille. It was an easy win for Marseille last time out, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Marseille this time. Into Group C, we start off with Betis taking on Aris Limassol. A close game last time out, but Betis were able to edge it, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for Betis this time. The other game sees Rangers taking on Sparta Prague, and after constantly moaning and criticising the Scottish teams for not being good enough, and I feel like that was justified after what happened with the Atletico Madrid Celtic game, Rangers did produce a good performance last time against Sparta Prague, and I'm going to back them to get a win. Yes, folks, I'm actually doing a Scottish team to win on one of these videos, and I'm going for 2-0 to Rangers. Next up, we have Atalanta taking on Sturm Graz in a game that I accurately predicted as a 2-2 draw in my predictions 2 weeks ago. I'm going to back Atalanta to get the win this time at home, though. I'm going to go for 3-1. The other game in that group sees Sporting taking on Rakau Częstochowa. I can never say that properly. Apologies if I've offended anyone right there. Sporting have not been really at it so far in the Europa League, but they are tending to perform well at home, so I'm going to back them to get a 2-1 win this time out. Into the next group, we start off with Lask taking on Union Saint-Gilloise. I think this is going to be a very, very tight game, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this one. I really can't split them. I think Union probably still should be considered the favourites, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. The second game in the group sees Toulouse taking on Liverpool once again. It was a 5-1 win for Liverpool at Anfield. I can't see the French side causing them any real problems tonight. I'm still going to give them a goal, but I'm going to go for a 4-1 win to Liverpool, so just a little bit safer this time around. Next up, we have Maccabi Haifa taking on Villarreal. Now, obviously, all of Maccabi Haifa's games have been postponed recently due to the ongoing conflict in Israel and Hamas, but I think this is a weird one to call because the game's being played in Cyprus, obviously due to the reasons that I've just said, and the important thing to note is that Maccabi Haifa haven't played a game of football for over a month, so they're going to be well off of it. Villarreal haven't been playing particularly great themselves recently, and they have a whole host of injuries. But with all things considered, I think we have to expect Villarreal to win this match. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Villarreal in that one. The other game in the group sees Rennes taking on Panathinaikos, a game that I thought Rennes would really struggle in a couple of weeks ago, but they ended up getting the result away from home. Now back at home, I'm backing them to 100% get the win, and I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Rennes. On to Group G, and it is Servette against Sheriff, a draw in the reverse fixture. And to be honest, I really don't know where to put this one this time round. I'm just going to edge it in favour of the home side. It's a tough one. On their day, both these sides are capable of beating the others, but I think Servette have to be the favourites at home. The other game is Slavia Prague against Roma. It was 2-0 to Roma in the reverse fixture. I'm going to go for 1-0 to Jose's side tonight. And finally, for the Europa League, we start off with Karabag and Bayer Leverkusen. A massive win for Bayer Leverkusen in the reverse fixture. I can't see it being anything different this time around, other than the actual scoreline itself. I'm going to go for 4-0. I'm not going to give them the 6 they got last time. And the other game in the group is Hacken against Mulder, in a game that I struggled to split these two sides originally 2 weeks ago. It ended up being a 5-1 win to Mulder, so I cannot show any disrespect to Mulder after a performance like that 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Mulder. This time, from the Europa League, we move swiftly on to the Europa Conference League, and we go all the way back to Group A once again, with Olympia Ljubljana, which I never say properly, against your boys Klasvik. Now, last time out, it actually said that Olympia were the favourites for this, but I actually predicted that Klasvik were going to take the win. And you know what? I'm backing Klasvik again. I'm going for a 2-0 win. It was 3-0 the other in the reverse fixture, and I think Klasvik are going to take it. The other game in this group I think could be really interesting. Slovan Bratislava taking on Lille. Now, Lille should be the favourites for this, as they should have definitely been the favourites 2 weeks ago, but it was only a 2-1 win, and they really, really struggled. Now back at home, against a side that's performed very well in this group so far, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. That's probably my biggest risk of the night, but I just have a little feeling on Bratislava tonight. We shall see. Lille should win, but I'm going for a 1-1 draw. Next up, it is Breidablik taking on Ghent in Group B, and it was a comfortable win for Ghent last time out, and we're going to go for a comfortable win for Ghent once again with a 3-0 win. Next up, it's Zoya taking on Maccabi Tel Aviv, and again, due to mitigating circumstances, we actually have a Ukrainian team taking on an Israeli team in a completely neutral venue due to both of these countries' ongoing conflicts. So it's a very weird one to call. As with the other game we spoke about with the Israeli team, Maccabi have not played a game for over a month, so you would have to favour Zoya to win this one just purely on games currently being played. I'm going to go for 2-0 to the Ukrainian side. On to Group C, we start with Astana taking on Balkani, and I'm just going to go for a 3-1 win to Astana. This shouldn't be a too difficult game for them. The other game in the group sees Victoria Pilsen taking on Dinamo Zagreb, another fixture that I was accurately able to predict an upset in a couple of weeks ago. Everyone expected Zagreb to win. I went for Pilsen, and Pilsen did get the win. So you won't be surprised to know that once again, I'm going for Pilsen tonight, and I'm going for a 2-0 win for them. On to the next group, it is Besiktas taking on Bodo Glimt. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I thought Besiktas would win this game pretty comfortably. Turns out it was actually Bodo Glimt that won this game pretty comfortably. The only thing I would say is, despite how poorly Besiktas have played so far this season, both domestically and in the Europa Conference League, they have done relatively well at home. However, Bodo Glimt have performed expertly away from home as well, so that has to be considered, and the fact that they got a result very comfortably a couple of weeks ago. So with all things considered, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Kind of like the Lille one, Besiktas should win this game, but I just don't see it happening tonight. Other game in that group sees Club Brugge taking on Lugano, and I'm going to go for the Belgian side once again, this time with a 3-0 win. Next up, we have Legia Warsaw taking on Mostar. I can never say the first part of their name. Another tight game. I think it could be an interesting one, but in the end, I'm going to go for a Legia Warsaw win, and I'm going to go for 3-1. The other game in that group sees Aston Villa taking on AZ Alkmaar in a game that I really thought AZ were going to win due to Villa's poor away form in the reverse fixture. A poor away form that we did see against Nottingham Forest at the weekend. However, it was a comfortable win for Aston Villa in Holland a couple of weeks ago. And now back at home, where they seemingly win every single game at the moment, we are, of course, going to go for Aston Villa once again. And I'm going to go for another 3-1 win in that group. Next up, it is Kukariki taking on Fiorentina in a game that was 6-0 to the Italian side 2 weeks ago, so you won't be surprised to know I'm going for Fiorentina once again. But this time, we're only going to go for 4-0. And in the other game in the group, it is Ferencváros taking on Ghent. I went for a 1-1 draw last time. It ended up being 0-0. 2 weeks on, I still can't split them, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw once again. And the other game in that group sees Helsinki taking on Eintracht Frankfurt, a game that was an absolute thrashing from Frankfurt last time around. So, of course, once again, we're going to go for Frankfurt again, and we're going to go for 3-0. And then we have PAOK and Aberdeen as the other game in that group. Now, again, I'm going to be disrespectful to the Scottish side. Yes, I did give Rangers the win in the Europa League, but Aberdeen were beaten at home by PAOK in the reverse fixture, and PAOK are scoring goals for fun at the moment. Aberdeen are conceding goals for fun at the moment, so I'm going to go for a 4-1 win to PAOK in this one. Finally, we have Group H, and we start off with Nordsjælland taking on Spartak Trnava. I'm going to go for Nordsjælland once again, as I did in the reverse fixture. I'm going to go for 3-0 this time around. And the final game of the day sees Ludogorets taking on Fenerbahce. It was a 3-1 win for the Turkish side 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for them this time. Thank you very much for watching. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a lot of fun watching, and hopefully you can give me all of your predictions for tonight's games down in the comment section. As I say, I do love these videos because they are just absolute chaos trying to predict this many fixtures at once, but we'll see what happens. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow morning for my Premier League predictions.